Namaste. I would like to welcome you all to semi-solid dosage form part B. In part A, we had dealt with ointments in detail, and today we will be dealing with creams, pastes, jellies and poultices in detail. So, in the previous part, we had dealt in detail about ointment, its contents, what are the characteristics of an ideal ointment, classification of ointment based on its penetration and therapeutic utility, based on its therapeutic utility in detail, and about bases, and about the factors governing selection of bases, and about the dermatological factors governing which base to be selected, and pharmaceutical factors, and the preparation methods for ointments. So today we will be continuing with creams. Creams are viscous semi-solid ointment like preparations but have lighter body than the ointments. They may be oil in water type, that is aqueous creams, or water in oil type, that is oily creams. Due to the presence of water soluble bases in oil or in oil and water types, creams they can be easily removed from skin and clothing. The aqueous cream and mold growth, therefore a preservative must be added. Even if a preservative has been incorporated, care must be taken for complete cleanliness of the apparatus used in the manufacture of creams and containers used for packing the creams. If this precaution is not observed and the cream is contaminated with microorganisms, is applied to the Bruch's infection in patients. So some of the advantages of using creams are its water soluble base, softer consistency, and there is no visible evidence of there will be no visible evidence of its application. So it's mainly classified into aqueous creams and oily creams. So during preparation of creams, to prevent any contamination with microorganisms, the apparatus used in the preparation of creams must be thoroughly cleaned with soap and water and rinsed with freshly boiled and cooled water and finely dried in oven. All hygienic precautions should be taken throughout the preparation. Moving on to paste. Pastes are preparations which are usually prepared with large amount of finely powdered solids such as starch, zinc oxide, calcium carbonate, etc. Like ointments, pastes are semi-solid preparations meant for external application to the skin, and they differ from ointment that they generally contain large amount of finely powdered solids such as starch, zinc oxide and calcium carbonate. Due to the presence of these substances, they usually become quite stiff than the ointment but are less greasy than ointments. So due to the presence of large amount of solids, they are less attractive less attractively than ointments. So since pastes are stiff, they don't melt at ordinary temperature, thus forming and holding a protective coating over the area to which they are applied. They soothe the inflamed and raw surface and then damage done by scratching and itching condition such as chronic eczema. It is easier to stick the paste to the diseased area rather than ointment, which are generally less viscous than paste and tend to spread onto the healthy skin, which may result in sensitivity reactions if the preparation contains elements such as dithenol. Pastes are prepared in the same manner as that of ointments, but when a levigating agent is to be used to mix the components and to make the preparation smooth, a portion of the base should be used as a levigating agent rather than liquid like mineral oil that would soften the paste. Pastes were generally formulated on the principle that the high content of powder substance would absorb exudate, but it is unlike powder which has been specially wetted with oil will be able to absorb an aqueous liquid. So paste can be applied to the affected part with the help of a spatula, or they may be spread on any of the dressing material and then applied. They are not removed from the site of application for quite a long time. The pastes are not suitable for application to the scalp because they are very difficult to be removed from the hair. Zinc and salicylic acid paste, which is also known as Lesser's paste, is medicaments incorporated in zinc and salicylic acid paste are less active than when included in ointments. So higher concentration of powerful medicaments such as dithranol may therefore be tolerated if they are combined with zinc. So some of the commonly used bases for paste are hydrocarbon bases, that is with soft paraffin, miscible bases with an emulsifying ointment, water soluble. So hydrocarbon bases, liquid paraffins are commonly used bases for the preparation of paste. Compound zinc paste and compound zinc and salicylic acid paste are prepared with soft paraffin base. They are used in eczema and psoriasis either alone or along with coal tar and dithranol. Coal tar paste is used for treating eczema, whereas dithranol paste is used for ringworm. Liquid paraffin is used as a base in compound aluminum paste, which is used as a skin protectant. So method of preparation using hydrocarbon bases, for example, zinc oxide finely sifted 25 gram, starch finely sifted 25 gram, white or soft paraffin 50 gram. We have to make a paste and take 25 gram. On the label it's like spread thickly on the area, and type is paste with semi-solid base prepared by fusion and trituration method. So the procedure is as separately pass the zinc oxide and starch through sieve number 120. Melt the white soft paraffin on water bath. Mix the required weight of powders in a warm mortar base with continuous trituration until smooth. Gradually add remainder of the base and mix until cold and uniform paste is obtained. Use acetic paste. So warm mortar is to be used because it is much easier to manipulate the paste in warm mortar, and this preparation is also known as compound zinc paste. Regarding another base, that is water miscible base, emulsifying ointment is used as a base for resorcinol and sulfur paste. This paste is used and should be easily removed from the hair, hence an emulsifying ointment is used. The procedure of preparation of kind of water miscible bases are: pass separately the resorcinol, precipitated sulfur and zinc oxide through sieve number 120 and mix the weight quantities of these substances with a portion of emulsifying ointment until smooth. Gradually add the remainder of the emulsifying ointment with thorough trituration until smooth. So the uses are: it is used in the treatment of dandruff, psoriasis, eczema and other skin diseases. It's used in the preparation of zinc and coal tar paste, which helps in easy dispersion of the coal tar as well as easy removal from the skin after use. So magnesium sulfate paste is prepared by using glycerin as base to which phenol is added. This paste is used for the treatment of boils because of its powerful osmotic effect of magnesium sulfate, and titanium dioxide paste is prepared by using glycerin and water as base. So this paste is a suspension which contains titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, light kaolin, red ferric oxide, glycerin and water. It is useful for absorbing. Moving on to water soluble bases. Water-soluble bases are prepared from mixtures of molecular weight polyethylene glycols. The polyethylene glycols with low molecular weight are liquid in nature, whereas the polyethylene glycols with moderately higher molecular weight are semi-solid, and polyethylene glycols with higher molecular weights are solids. Suitable combination of high and low molecular weight polyethylene glycols are mixed together to get a product of desired consistency, which soften or melt when applied to the skin. So these bases are water soluble because of the presence of many polar groups and ether linkages. So water soluble dental paste containing neomycin with macrogol base. Another paste containing sodium carboxymethyl cellulose, pectin and gelatin is called as plastibase. So the advantages are they will be thick and stiff, and it will be less greasy than the ointments, and they don't melt at ordinary temperature. It will give you a soothing action, and it will minimize the damage, and it's more viscous than ointments. So moving on to another semi-solid dosage form, that is jellies. Jellies are thin, transparent or translucent, non-greasy semi-solid preparations meant for external application to the skin or mucous membrane. They are similar to mucilages, similar to those used for mucilages, but they differ from mucilages in having jelly-like consistency. They are chiefly used in mucous membranes for their lubricating, antiseptic or spermicidal purposes. For lubricating surgical gloves, catheters and rectal thermometers. Vaginal jellies and contraceptive jellies are also commonly used. So they are thin, transparent, translucent and non-greasy. Mainly used for spermicidal action. So medicated jelly contains a considerable amount of water. Therefore, they are quite suitable as vehicles for water-soluble medicaments such as local anesthetics, spermicides and antiseptics. They are less satisfactory for insoluble medicaments which are difficult to incorporate and do not produce a uniform and smooth product. Jellies are easy to apply, and the evaporation of water content produces a cooling sensation to the skin. After evaporation, the contents remaining behind stick well to the applied area and gives a protection. When the treatment is over, they can be easily removed by washing with water. The jelly is used as lubricants for articles to be inserted into a sterile region of the body such as bladder, etc. must be sterile. So moving on to the preparation of a jelly. Pharmaceutical jellies are usually prepared by adding a thickening agent such as tragacanth or carboxymethyl cellulose to an aqueous solution in which drug has been dissolved. Saturated in a mortar until a uniform product is obtained. Whenever a dark colored drug is to be used, then glass pestle and mortar must be used. For the preparation of jellies, a whole gum is preferred rather than a powdered gum because the former gives a clear preparation of uniform consistency. So some of the gelling agents are used for the preparation of jelly: canth, sodium alginate, pectin, starch, gelatin or other cellulose. And the preservation of jellies and the container which has to be used are, although some bases used for preparation of jellies, example clays and cellulose derivatives, resist the bacterial attack, but since all the jellies contains large amount of water, therefore they must be suitably preserved by adding an antimicrobial preservative unless they are to be used immediately. Methyl p-hydroxybenzoate 0.1 to 0.2% weight by volume as a preservative for medicated jellies. So there is a quick loss of water which leads to skin formation on jellies. Therefore, to prevent this, a hygroscopic substance such as glycerin, propylene glycol, or sorbitol may be added. Containing jellies should be well filled to minimize the evaporation of water. It should be well closed and stored in a cool place to prevent dry. Collapsible tubes should be used for packing the sterile products such as catheter, lubricants, etc. Next one is cerates. So they are semi-solid ointment-like preparations with high percentage of wax content in it. Plasters are nothing solid self-adhesive substances which offers a protective and mechanical support, and the preparation is by melting the mass and incorporation of the drug into it, and then modification into sticks and then spreading on cloth, paper, linen or plastic. Poultices or cataplasms. Poultices are also known as cataplasms. They are soft, viscous wet masses of solid substances applied to the skin for their fermentation in order to give relief from pain or reduce inflammation, or in some cases to act as a counter irritant also. They are also used to draw infectious material from a diseased tissue because of the absorptive and hygroscopic characters of the ingredients. They represent one of the most ancient classes of pharmaceutical preparation. Practicing pharmacists never prepare poultices, but sometimes may be asked to prepare such preparations. Clean herbs and seeds such as mustard, linseed, etc. are used for this preparation. Glycerin is usually incorporated because of its hygroscopic nature. For use, the poultice is heated in a dish with occasional stirring until the heat is tolerated on the back of the hand. Then it is spread thickly and applied as hot as the patient can bear it on its fine affected area, which is sometimes facilitate removal after use. Only Cavolin poultice is included in BP 1980. So the preparation of a poultice, as in modern science, is as: prepare Cavolin poultice 100 gram. To prepare a Cavolin poultice of 100 gram, the formula which is commonly used are heavy Cavolin finely sifted and dried at 100 degrees Celsius 52.7 gram, boric acid which is finely sifted 4.5 gram, methyl salicylate 0.2 ml, thymol 50 mg, peppermint oil 0.05 ml, glycerin 0.5 gram. And the procedure is: mix heavy Cavolin and boric acid with glycerin and heat at 120 degrees Celsius for 1 hour with occasional stirring, and allow it to cool. The thymol in methyl salicylate and peppermint oil and add the solution to the cool mixture and mix thoroughly. Heavy Cavolin is liable to be contaminated with bacterial spores like Clostridium tetani. Therefore, it's very necessary to heat Cavolin at 120 degrees Celsius to kill these spores. Heated beyond 120 degrees Celsius to prevent decomposition of glycerin. So, Cavolin poultices is stored in well-closed container to prevent loss of volatile ingredients and absorption of moisture. So, some of the marketed poultices which are available in the market is as antigestin poultice, antiflamstin poultice, and ketolin antiplast poultice. So, poultices, so cataplasms are soft, wet masses of solids which are applied to skin for their formation to relieve pain, reduce inflammation, or to act as counter irritant. And the other utility is to draw infectious material from the diseased tissues. and for it materials such as clay, metals, herbs, seeds, etc. are used. This can be compared to Upanaha, which has been mentioned in Ayurvedic classics. So the stability depends at instability, preservatives, antioxidants, humectants are added, chelating agents are also added, and the temperature is regulated. Packing is usually done in ointment jars or collapsible tubes, and labeling, on label it should be like self-adhesive labels, and cardboard boxes should be used, and labeling should be done on self-adhesive labels, and labeling should be available on the cardboard boxes as well, and it should be stored in closed containers and in a so what Ayurveda says about the semi-solid dosage forms. So it can be compared to Rasakriya, that is Kwadadinam Punapakat Ganatvam Cha Rasakriya, as mentioned in Sharangadhara Samhita. So one of the example is Daru Haridra Rasakriya, and as I have mentioned before, it can also be compared to Upanaha. One such example which is commonly used is Atasi Upanaha. Another one sort of preparation is Malahara. And one such example of Malahara is Gandhakadya Malahara in Rasa Tarangini. Thank you for your patient listening.